Good afternoon. Good afternoon, kings and queens of the land. Good afternoon, the royals. Good afternoon to the ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon to the liberated zones of Africa, the liberated zones of Africa in the Sahel under the colonial master, the French colony, the only three zones which are liberated in in Africa under the French colony. Burkina Faso, led by President Ibrahim Traore. Mali, led by President Assimi Goita. Niger, led by President Abdurrahman Tian. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to the liberated zone under the British colony, the in South Africa, KZN, led by Umkhonto weSizwe Party, the MK Party, led by President Zuma, the liberated zone in South Africa. Good afternoon to everybody. My name is Ngoni Mkonto. This is the Royal Opinion. Today we are talking about why did the BEE policies, why did BEE failed? What caused the BEE policies to fail? Um, but well, before I get into deeper details, let me remark about President um, Traore was invited, rejected an invite from. He told him he was busy helping, he was busy building his country. He did not have time to take a visit at this moment because he's working on. He said his focus was in building Burkina Faso. So he couldn't visit the White House. Connected there. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being part. You can announce your presence, who is present in class today, before we go deeper into the issues that we are talking about. Uh, Many leaders would jump into an invite by President Trump, but President Traore said, uh, no, because I'm busy, I'm focused on building my own country, and I'm focused on helping my own people. So I don't have time for visit to the USA or to the imperial masters. Many black presidents would run to the US if they were invited. Before we get deeper, let me just a little bit share something which is a little bit irritating, and I'm sorry to irritate you, but I need to comment about this. I wanted just to comment about this, but sorry for irritating you. Before we get deeper into the topic of the BEE, the failure of the BEE policy that we are talking about today. I was actually requested. Let me go to the other side. I was actually requested by some of my favorites, some of the people who follow the royal opinion, some of the favorite in the royal opinion, to talk about the issue of BEE policies. So, what is the royal opinion? What is the royal opinion about the BEE policies? So, today I'm going to give a royal opinion on BEE policies. Let me share this little nonsense and then we will go on.
Penny in parliament. The guy has not been to school. But he happens to be Shangan, by the way, so he's from my group. The guy has never seen a classroom in his life. He is a member of parliament making laws for me. I have a master's degree. How could an idiot? I mean, let's be honest. I'm not aware of any country in the world that has turned itself from a backward country into a first world that is led by someone who has not been to school. How do you have someone in parliament who has not been to school? It doesn't.
I just wanted to comment about this. This guy is calling Penny, who is a member of parliament of the MK party, is calling him stupid because he did not uh, get the colonial education. This is Prince Mashele, who is a political analyst, maybe to give a little bit of context on what are political analysts. Political analysts are people who are employed by politicians in order to give particular image uh, about other politicians that are enemies, and to give a positive perspective about themselves in the media. Basically, they are public relations officers of the sell-out politicians. They are called political analysts. Normally, they give them titles of professorship and all of those things. Mostly nonsensical because they are not professor for anything. This guy is saying he's got a professor. He's a professor. He's got a doctorate. And how can he be led? How can he be led by somebody who is stupid, who did not get the colonial education that he is proud of? The question is right. How can he be led if he's so intelligent? How can he be led by somebody who does not have the colonial education? He should, if he's so clever, more than Penny, how can he be led by Penny? He should ask himself. They say that question. It's actually a good question to ask, but the way he's asking, it's like he's asking, blaming Penny for leading, blaming Penny for outsmarting him to parliament. Apparently, he wanted professors in parliament. So I was just commenting. I was just giving a remark about Prince Mashele. Thank you very much, Richard Mie, for joining. Good morning to the royal family. And to you, Mfugam Konto, I'm joining the class. Thank you for joining, Mr. Mini. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. Thank you very much. And thank you very much for everybody who is joining the class. T class, please click. So let's get into the topic that we're discussing today. We're talking about the BEE policies. The BEE policies, maybe let me start by saying the BEE policies were started, not actually the, yeah, let me say the BEE policies were brought in South Africa by the white system, by the white people. The reason they brought the BEE, Black Economic Empowerment, was to uh, pay back the people who were supporting or who were informing them, giving them information who they, who were their informants, the people who have sold out. They started BE in order to take care of those. And the reason they wanted to take care of those is because though they thought if they take care of those people, then the rest of the people will not matter. Because what will happen is the ones who've got power are the ones that matters, are the ones who are going to determine whether um, in the future white system will continue to rule in South Africa. So what they did, they when they came in 1994, they have given shares to was the fact that the main problem with BEE was the fact that um, big companies were giving shares to politicians who have never run any business. They were given shares to in white companies for the white companies to be able to comply with BEE policies, which requires that at least some percentages of ownership be given to black people from big companies that comes from outside South Africa. So what happened? The BEE policy was implemented. Uh, it gave birth to people like Ramaphosa, who became rich from those policies. Ramaphosa has never started any business, but he became um a very rich man. It gave birth to people like Patrice Motsepe, uh, who became very rich as well. It gave birth to people like Matthew Posa, who became very rich. But I want to talk about the impact of BEE on ordinary people, the impact of BEE on black people. What did it do in actual fact? Did it really empower? First, let me explain. After it failed, after they realized that black people were still complaining in from 1994 to 2003, black people were complaining that they are not being considered when it comes to business, because the BEE policies that were implemented by that time were only to give shares to politicians. That was the BEE policy that was implemented. But in government tenders, in all of those processes, no BEE was implemented until 2003, when the black broad-based black economic empowerment was the laws were drafted and implemented. From 2003, when the broad-based black economic empowerment was implemented, basically what it meant, the triple BEE um, system meant that Let me just give a little bit of information about how it works. It's actually supposed to be, they've got what they call 90-10 principle and 80-20 principle on BEE. So the 90-10 principle, it's any amount which exceed a million. That one, they apply the 90-10 principle. And what it means, the 90 of consideration when the tender is above a million, it's given to price, and only 10% will be given to BEE empowerment. Will be given, yeah, only 10% will be given as consideration for black. It's for tenders which are less than a million. In that way, 80% consideration is for the BEE policies. So when we say 80-20, it means 80% is consideration is the price, meaning the competition is on price. 80% competition is focused on price. So only 20% will be focused on other issues like the BEE. Sorry, sorry about that. So on this 20%, if we talk about that 20%, it's almost impossible for any person to be able to claim 100% of that 20%. That 20%, yeah, it's actually almost impossible. I would say 99% chance is you are not gonna be able to claim that 20 points for BEE, because what are they considering? They consider 5 points. They would consider if you are previously disadvantaged, if you are a black person, if the company is owned by uh, 50% or 51% black people. That's what they are going to consider. The second consideration is whether you are a woman, a black woman or not. You will get 5 points. And also whether you are the other consider the other consideration would be uh, whether you are a disabled or you are um, an able person. They give 5 points for that. So if you are a man, you already have the maximum you can collect on BEE. If you are a black man, the maximum points you can collect on BEE is only 10 points. If you are a black woman, the maximum points you can collect on BEE if you are not disabled is 15, because you have to be black, you have to be, secondly, you have to be, they also consider youth and disabled for you to be able to claim all the points. If you are not youth, you are not a woman, and you are not black, even like let's say you are, because the consideration is for black people. My point is, it's impossible for any black person, whether a black woman or a black man, to be able to claim all the BEE points for any tender. So it means the competition, basically, the maximum you can take, the maximum points you can take if you are a young woman, it's 15 points on BEE. You can't get more than that. So the rest of the competition is on price. And why is that critical? It's critical because you will not be able to compete on price with white companies, because whatever the government wants, the manufacturers are the white companies. So whatever you want, you will have to go and buy from the white company. So if the white company is tendering, first they all own, even if you also have a manufacturing factory, for instance, uh, white people have already paid up their assets from previous generations, not even paid up their assets, because these assets are stolen properties. All these stolen properties, they don't owe anybody any rent. So maybe you've got offices, you are paying for the offices because you don't have land in most cases. So will not be the same. You will not be able to beat white company as amount it's put on competing on price to allow white go on and win. The 90, as the tender becomes higher amount, if the tender is more than a million, now they reduce the BEE points. The BEE points you can collect now, it's only 10 points when the tender is above the million. And you also have to have all of those characteristics that I have explained in order for you to be able to claim 10 points. So first, BEE does not work because um, for black people to be able to claim all the BEE points that are required, they have to be something impossible. So basically, the competition is still on price. Black people who get appointed on government must still go and buy their products, like anything that tenders the black people are getting from tenders, they have to share it with the white companies. You can't implement any order company with white companies. That's the first thing. So secondly, what happened because of BEE got corrupted. It has become on the tenders are given to people depending how much, how strong or how big are your guns. If you've got big and strong guns, you are able to get the tender. So now it has turned communities into the protest delivery protest in our communities. It's not necessarily because people have got genuine concerns. In most cases, the protests get organized buy the tenders from municipalities or from departments. It depends on whether you are able to disturb their business. If you can be able to organize a protest and be able to stop their trucks from moving, then they will consider you in giving tender as created an apple, and the competition has become uh, fatal, because black people are killing each other because of the tenders. Now it's up to how big is your gun. It's not the the BEE policy. There has never been, it has never benefited black people. Black women are not empowered, because if you check any companies ran by black people or black women, there are no companies that are ran by black women unless if it's a fronting. Most of the time when the black women is running a company, it's actually fronting in government tenders. If it's not fronting, there's no black women who are involved in tenders, especially the higher the amount. There are no women involved there. It depends on the size of the gun. It depends on how big is your evolver or revolver. It does not depend on how good is your tender or how good you can be able to work. So it has, the BE policies have resulted in creating mafias in black townships, creating mafias like throughout South Africa. There's no place in South Africa where the tender mafia exists throughout South Africa, and the tender mafia is destroying uh, people or black people, because the competition is too high now. They don't even know now what to do with these people. Um, they are actually now even trying to target the construction mafia, eliminating them. They are trying to eliminate, because now they are quite a lot, and they are more powerful than the police. They've got more guns and bigger guns than the police. So they cannot be arrested even by the police. They are becoming even bigger uh, than the state. The way they beef up their securities because of these tender issues. So this was intended by the white system. They intended to create this desperation. They intended to create uh, a class in which other people will be excluded and only give to people who will be influential in making decisions to avoid land being taken from white people and restored to black people. The land has been grabbed. The land grabs were done by white people since 1652. The land grabs continued until they formalized it in 1948, where they created the apartheid government. In 1913, they formalized the land grab by allowing the state to create a law which said black people can only own 7% of the land in South Africa. Not even own. They should occupy, not own, because they somehow they should exist, but they should occupy less than 7% of the land in South Africa, and the rest of the land should be occupied by white people. So this system of tendering has been put in place in order to ensure that those who are poor have no access to 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 actually destroy the ones who've got power, because there's these middle people who've got money and somehow guns, who can like oppress others on the ground. It has become a system in which um, it has become a system in which corruption, maintaining of political power, basically corruption, because most the focus of the politician is to give tenders to maintain political power. The administration as well, the job of the administration now is to give tenders to people who've got influence to political power. If you don't have any influence to political power, people are even surprised why you can be even be appointed in any contract in South Africa. Those who get appointed on tenders, those who get appointed in South Africa without the connections, they end up suffering, because at the end of the day, when you have to um, in actual fact, even when you get appointed, you are not going to be able to make so much profit. The most of the money goes to the people who does the manufacturing, the actual people who are selling that. At the same time, when you come to deliver at the municipality or at the department, you're going to give them what they ordered, and you're going to wait for your payment for month and month, because the supply chain people want you to bribe them. You are going to wait forever. Sometimes other people never even get paid. Sometimes other people paid after 6 months, sometimes paid after a year, and you've got nowhere to go and protest about the issue, or to go and is so connected. The corruption is so, the magistrate is already on their side. Even if you go to the public protector, they already have been talking to the public protector. So like there's no way you can go to report these people. Are not politically connected. The BEE policies will never work to the reason it has never worked, people are being strained at the same time. You have to pay money to those who gave you the tender. After getting the tender, you still have to pay the organized. Because at the end of the day, when a black woman wants to be paid and there's nothing, she owes that one, she owes that one, she end up giving herself to those vultures who are waiting there to actually grab or to destroy black people system. For a black woman to get into tendering, that's a very strong support from a man. If you don't have that strong support from a man, don't even try tendering, because otherwise you're going to sell yourself to the vultures. Tendering is very, very tough and delicate for because that involve a lot of issues. At the end of the day, you end up with the connections. They can even cancel your orders. They even cancel your contracts for no apparent reason, and there's nothing you can do. You can't report it to anywhere, to anybody. So at the end of the day, when they gave you a tender and somebody wants 10% and somebody wants 20%, at the end of the day, how are you pricing the service? Because they're not even helping you to even consider them. You're going to be way out, you're going to be more expensive. So tendering remains at the hands of the people who've got the strongest revolver, and it has never benefited black people, and it will never benefit black women. It will never empower black women unless a different government that is serious about changing the laws, make the BEE policy, change the 80-20 principle, make it 50-50. Make 50, if it's a woman company should not even compete with their other companies. It should be appointed. It should be naturalized that women companies don't even compete because they have to be empowered. And why is it that government does not pay before? Because they are supposed to pay before. Even if they give you the order, you still have to run and look for the money. Where do you get 100,000? Who can give you 100,000 to implement a particular order? Sometimes you've got a 150,000 order. You want to implement that order, you go and buy, you go and borrow money from the loan sharks, because the bank will not give you the money if you are not working, and most of the people who are in tendering are not working, so they are not going to be given the money. So because they're not going to be given the money, they always go to the loan sharks. The loan shark wants 25% of the amount that you're going to earn from the tendering. So at the end of the day, you are just going to do the run around, and you're not necessarily going to make any money or any progress out of the tendering system. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining. Let's talk about other issues the next time. Thank you. Enjoy your day.